Hello, welcome back to the Draw Fair to Green podcast. And we went from a busy week this week in the golf world to an even busier week this weekend. And we have four events. We have a major championship. We have the new PGA Tour schedule kind of released today and what the structure of that's going to look like in a couple of years. But before we get into next week, we got to talk about last week. And let's start with the Ladies European Tour. Aunchisa Utama wins her maiden tour or maiden victory on the Ladies European Tour. She's from Thailand, so maybe another Thai star to go with Gino out there on the LPGA Tour soon. She's 35 to win her first event at 30. That's great. You've seen all these young women be winning everywhere on the LPGA and on the Ladies European Tour. So you get kind of a seasoned vet picking up her first win. That's always cool to see.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy story this week. She's 35, as you said, and she turned professional in 2012. So she's been playing professional golf for quite a long time. And for her to get her first win, it was her 53rd start, I believe, on the Ladies European Tour. So relatively not that many starts on that tour for her first victory. But, gotta feel good. She went to a playoff and she didn't waste any time. She won on the first playoff hole. So got the job done, and congratulations.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool. Played professional golf for 12, 14 years with 2014, so 12 years. That's crazy. And to get that first win, that's got to feel so good after all those years of working, playing on mini tours. If you never know you're going to win, losing your card, battling back to get a card. So good for her. Another good story. Over on the LPGA Tour, we finally have a pick that one of us made that won an event. I picked Miyu Yamashita. She won. I cannot believe it. So if any of you put some money on her, you're welcome. I was shocked that she was in contention and won because when we pick, we're never right. So good for me, Yamashita, her third career victory on the LPGA Tour, first since last year. Again, she was the Rookie of the Year last year, finished to Gino in the Player of the Year race. She's the first Japanese winner of this event. I mean, she's just a budding star and one of the best players in the women's game right now.
Yeah, we've been doing well in our picks here. I got Nelly Korda at the U.S. Women's Open, not really a hard pick, but then you got Miyu Yamashita this week, so we're picking up some momentum here. But yeah, Miyu Yamashita with the win this week, and we kind of got the showdown with the young stars. We had Lottie Woad and Miyu Yamashita in a playoff, and Miyu Yamashita started the day, I think, for these 5 shots back, she played outstanding to climb up the leaderboard. She made it 3 birdies or 3 or 4 birdies on the front and then 3 or 4 more on the back, and she was just going after it. So we know what she's capable of. She was the Rookie of the Year last year, major winner. She won the Open last year. So it's an extremely talented player, and we finally get to see her win one this year, which, finally, but, it's been the Nelly Korda show for all season, and not playing this. She didn't play last week, but doesn't matter. It was still, those two extremely talented players who are going to be amazing on the PGA Tour for a long time. And I'm sure that's probably the first of many delightful tournaments we're going to get to watch with Miyu Yamashita and Lottie Woad. But Miyu Yamashita comes out on top this week. She birdies the first playoff hole. So another great tournament. A lot of good tournaments on the LPGA Tour. They're constantly delivering.
Yeah, and it's great, especially like you said, the two young kind of stars. I mean, Gino and Nelly are young. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not like they're old, like Roy McIlroy, who's 36. They're still young in their 20s. But the younger kind of generation of stars in Yamashita and Woad, that's great. I mean, it's great for LPGA Tour that other people are kind of winning and other people are stepping up and creating storylines. And I think outside of maybe Gino being in this playoff, I don't think you could have asked for two better people for an LPGA perspective, for viewing perspective, to showcase these two great talents. Again, they're going to be here to stay for a long time. So watching that, I hope we get more battles with them. But I think it's great. And again, it's a good prep for the Women's Open or PGA Championship this week. Again, it's a difficult golf course, getting some confidence with winning your last event before a major, Lottie losing in a playoff, but still gaining that confidence, going toe-to-toe with one of the best players in Yamashita. I think it's only going to be great and maybe some good momentum for them heading into Hazeltine this week. And speaking of majors, we have the third men's major just finished this week, the Men's U.S. Open. Quite a decisive winner. Wyndham Clark runs away with the field the first 3 rounds, comes back to earth in the final round, wins by 1 over Sam Burns. I'll let you take it away because you probably have more to say than I do on this.
I have so many things to say. We could be here all day. If so, first off, Wyndham Clark. Unfortunately, we can no longer say he has a Mickey Mouse major with that LACC win a few years ago because that was a Mickey Mouse major. However, this one this year, unfortunately, was not. He get lucky with the Thursday afternoon course playing easier? Yes, but did he also shoot 6 under? Also, yes. So he took full advantage of that, and I'm not going to fault him for that. But man, anybody but Wyndham Clark. I don't know. It was Sunday afternoon. I was hanging out with my dad. I was golfing with him. We went out to dinner, and I was like, all right, cool. I'll turn on, the last final 9 holes, back 9 of the U.S. Open, and we'll see Wyndham Clark. I was geared up for a generational hate watch, and he held on. It was so disappointing. And Scotty was missing every single birdie putt. Sam Burns was being major Sam Burns of just getting really close and then not exactly getting there. So last year he hit out of an actual pond, so we won't fault him for that. But this year, man, I have so many things to say. I'm just so disappointed. This guy is probably one of the most all guys on the PGA Tour. We'll go down the list. Ready? Masters par 3 contest, just hates on kids.
Yeah,
Destroys
that was the toughest one.
Destroys the locker room at Oakmont after he plays poorly. Not cool. Talks trash on the PGA Tour's system of letting guys play with the 125 guys. He thinks we should shrink it after he took full advantage of that. Then won the U.S. Open and was like, we should get rid of it now. So the guy, and then he's just cocky and, it has had tangent. Oh, and no, totally forgot another terrible one of him throwing a club and almost hitting a volunteer at a T-Mobile sign.
Yeah, it was the PGA Championship last year.
Yeah, it was
destroyed a T marker.
Yeah, so he's
okay, Wyndham. We get it.
Yeah, just so had many of these outbursts of being a child. So it was a terrible weekend for golf. And now he's a multiple-time major winner. So he joins some elite group, and I just can't be bothered. You go ahead, you can continue. We'll go on the fans afterwards. But
I'll fight back against the Clark hate because, like you said, he built his lead Thursday. He shoots 64, 6 under. Then Friday he shoots 69, then 70 on Saturday. And so he got worse as the week went on, but he played so well Thursday that he had a large cushion to play with. Again, I'll play Wyndham Clark's advocate or whatever you want to say. It was a tough golf course. It really was. And he's played really well this year. He finished T3 at the Memorial. He blitzed the Byron Nelson for a final round city. He played well last week at TPC Toronto. He finished T11. Again, after such a horrendous year last year with the Oakmont stuff and the PGA Championship stuff, he said he wasn't in a great space. And his caddy that was on the bag for his first major isn't his caddy anymore. He didn't have a coach really then. Now he kind of has a coach. We all know his work with the mental coach and all that. But still, to win a U.S. Open at Shinnecock, I'll agree with you. The LACC one was one of the weakest U.S. Open tournaments that I can remember. Again, you can't really fake it around Shinnecock Hills, even though they did play it a little softer Thursday because of the wind and all. I get it. You can't have it unplayable, so you have to do what you have to do. And he took advantage. Some other players were there at 3, 4 under. They just didn't play well the rest of the week. Now, do I hate it for the game of golf? I'm going to say no, because part of me is, okay, I don't remember an American getting booed as much as he did in his National Open with an American with him. And I get it. He's playing with Scotty, and they want him to win the career Grand Slam. And Wyndham has all the issues you laid out perfectly. And I get it. Last year, we're talking about him smashing the locker at a U.S. Open. So I get it. But also, he defeated the course. I'm going to say he defeated the fans a little and kind of, again, it can't be easy when you're on the 16th hole, you drive it in the rough, and they're cheering that you hit it in the rough. And then he makes an incredible birdie. For all you want to say, the guy made so many long putts on Sunday. He made 2 15-footers on the front 9 that easily could have missed, and he would have shot +5 on the front 9 that he just center cut. I mean, you got to give him credit for that. Again, the last hole, the bad drive, and I'm like, once he hit in the rough on 18, I'm like, are we going to get a playoff? And it hits to 50 feet, and again, perfectly legs it to 3 inches. And yeah, I wanted Sam Burns. I'm a Sam Burns fan. I don't even want to say the one shot I think he's going to regret is the 3-putt on 15. His wedge shot, he was in the middle of the fairway, had 120 yards, hits a poor wedge shot to 40 feet, legs up to 6 feet, and then misses that. Sam Burns is the best putter in the game right now. you can't miss that putt, especially at a US Open. And then again, he makes a birdie at 16, and then 17, 18, he leaves his putt on 17 short, barely, and then 18 on at, I don't know how that putt doesn't go in. He just breaks right at the last second. It was a really good, and Keith Mitchell played really well. I don't think it's bad. It is weird that now he joins a list of John Rahm, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, of all guys with 2 wins in majors. So does he belong in that group? Maybe not, because he's a very streaky golfer. I think that's the best way to describe it, is like when he's on, but when he's off, it's like last year and he's not close. And right now he's in one of those years where he's making a lot of putts and he hits the ball a long way, and that helps. So I would have liked another winner. Do I feel a little, I don't want to say bad for him, but the booing and stuff, I don't know that he deserved all of that.
Okay, I'm gonna give him a little bit of credit here because I did hate on him a lot originally, but I think the worst part about this is that it was an extremely deserved win. He played it out of his mind. I was watching on Saturday, and every single hole, I swear, he had a power putt from 5 to 15 feet, and he made it every single time. It was the most irritating round to watch because he was making every single putt. He would just hit it in the rough or hit it and he would hit in the rough, and then he'd punch it on the green, and then he'd just make the longest par putt. It was very deserved. He was the best player on the course, simple as that. And even though he hits those power fade massive slices, hits him a long way. He's pretty accurate. So, fair enough. That's fair. I'll give him that. Regarding the crowd behavior, I'm going to be on the crowd side here. Not to anyone's surprise, but if you act the way that he did last year, I feel like there's got to be, people aren't going to like you. It's simple as that. Sometimes did it go a little far? Maybe. I don't actually think so. I think, as long as they weren't talking while he was shooting, they were quiet while he was playing, hitting the ball. Yeah. That's all you can ask for, then that's fine. Everything else, you just fair game. Scotty said you're like, not everyone is the man in the arena. Not everyone's like that. And unfortunately for Wyndham Clark, consequences of his own actions there on Sunday. But it is what it is. I don't have much more to say about that. We did get some outbursts though. I was excited though because I did say last week's podcast.
Yep.
We did get an outburst. It wasn't from Shane Lowry. It was from Joaquin Niemann. So, Live Tour guy. My favorite bit is every single major. Everyone's watch out for Joaquin Niemann. He plays so well on the Live Tour, and he misses the cut every year in every major. But he actually didn't this year. But he made a septuple bogey, I believe. And
a 12, I think.
Yeah, he made
11.
12. Yeah, he made a 12, 7 over on one hole. He hit 2 shots out of bounds, then had a 2-shot penalty because he threw his driver. It was probably a spectacular show, and surprisingly, no one got it on camera.
I know.
It was
a
shame, but he had an outburst, like John Daly level outburst of just throwing clubs and things like that. But funny enough, he finished, I think, in a very well. Yeah,
he shot 65 in his round 2. If he makes I don't know, let's say he makes a bogey there or 6. He's up with Tom Kim at 3rd again, but that's part of the game, is the mental aspect. And speaking of blowups, John Rahm, who seemed so in control, and then in the second round just absolutely loses and shoots 7 and misses the cut. Him kicking his driver down the tee and throwing it and kicking it.
Swearing on course too.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. You again, DeChambeau missed the cut. He missed the cut. A lot of live guys, again, didn't play well. I mean, you had Tyrrell Hatton, who made a run Sunday. My pick, he finishes in the top 10. Niemann finishes at the top of the leaderboard and shot 78 and on Saturday, too, or Friday. Yeah, I do appreciate a good blow-up. I wish Niemann's was on camera, but Rahm's wasn't bad. It was minor for a Rahm blow-up. But I do enjoy the kicking of the club and getting mad at the course, because it's the course's fault, John, that you hit a slice 70 yards right. Yep, that makes sense. I will say the fans, I don't agree with them always. I will say the one thing that I didn't agree, that I listened to on X this morning, was Eamon Lynch was on the Golf Channel, whatever, their morning program, and he said that the PGA Championship should not go to Bethpage in 2033. He goes, he doesn't think Long Island fans deserve any more golf. He goes, you saw it at the Ryder Cup and you saw it this year. He goes, they don't deserve high-level golf. They shouldn't come here. I'm not going to go that far. That's I don't know. You've had good events. You've had events at Wingfoot and Baltusrol and other events that aren't like this. Now, those aren't exactly Long Island, but it's still New York. You're going to get the same type of crowd there as you do at Bethpage and in Shinnecock. So I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but I will say I know there's 4 or 5 fans that got kicked out Sunday during the final round for saying stuff about Wyndham and other things. There's no place for that, but say they should never go back there. I didn't agree with that, with what he said on the Golf Channel this morning. But again, he can have his own opinions on what he thinks.
Yeah, I was actually talking with my mom about that right before this because she even heard about that, saying there should be no more tournaments on Long Island, and she was like, "That's ridiculous." And there's gonna be people who take it too far. That was the case in the Ryder Cup. That was also the case, unfortunately, at the U.S. Open. Although from reports I did hear, one kid got thrown out. Allegedly, we don't know if this is the full extent or how often he did it. Just saying, don't choke Wyndham, which not very nice, but yeah, not. I mean, yeah, probably not appropriate, but yeah, that's taking it to level 10. It's a bit of an overreaction for sure to not have any golf in
Yeah.
New York. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's another major down in this major season. As we head into this next week, we have a women's major up. Before getting into that, we can start with the Ladies European Tour. We have the Tip Sport Czech Ladies Open in the Czech Republic. It's a 54-hole stroke play event at the Royal Burnen Golf Club. Last year's winner, Cassandra Alexander. We have 3 past champions in the field, a couple Ladies European Tours winners in the field. My pick is going to be as a Hamilton. She won the SA Women's Open this year. Again, we'll go with her to get her second win of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Diksha Dagar this week. She is Indian. She finished in the top 5 last week, and she's had at least one more top 5 finish. So she's playing some good golf recently. So go with her.
On the Italian Open, or on the DP World Tour, we have the Italian Open. After a 2-week break, they're back to playing over there in their National Open. So again, this is in Italy. It is at Circle Golf Torino. This is actually the golf course that Francesco and then Eduardo Molinari grew up playing. They're both in the field. Francesco, he's a major winner, Ryder Cup player. Eduardo's one of the key statisticians for the European Ryder Cup. So I got a little insight into the course. They got 19 Italian players in the field. Again, last year's winner, Adrian Sadir, is in it. Again, you got Patrick Reed, who has not played on the DP World Tour in a long time since picking up that second win. He's kind of just played the majors. So he's over there. You got a lot of the live golfers are in the field, and I'm going to go with the live golfer to win. I'm going to go with our boy Joaquin Niemann. He's played well. He finished T17 at the PGA Championship, T7 last week at the US Open. He's playing well on live again. He's arguably probably the best player in this field behind Patrick Reed, or they're probably even. So I'm going to go with Joaquin Niemann to pick up the win in Italy.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the same player as you. Joaquin Niemann, he plays well on the live tour. He seemingly plays well these other mini tour events, and now he's going on the DP World Tour, which he's not a strong field as the PGA Tour, which he seems to play well in these type of events. So I'm gonna go with him. He's we saw what he can do last week, not regarding the outburst, but skill wise, we saw that. So he's a very talented player. Yeah, so that's all I have.
On the PGA Tour, we have the Travelers Championship, the last signature event of the year, down in Hartford, Connecticut. Again, it's a good tournament. You're going to have to go really low to win this golf tournament. Again, Jim Furyk shot the lowest score in PGA Tour history of 58 here back in 2014 maybe. So again, if you don't make birdies, you're not going to win. You're going to see the winning score probably be around 20 or lower. Keegan Bradley, famously won last year after making birdie while Tommy Fleetwood 3-putted for bogey. Again, good field. I think let me see, there's out of the 60 players playing in it, there's 50 of them playing that played in the U.S. Open. You have Wyndham Clark in there. You have Scotty, Xander, JT, Tommy Fleetwood. Again, it's a tough tournament to predict because someone's got to go real low. I'm going to go with the runner-up finish from the U.S. Open. I'm going to go with Sam Burns. He has 2 top 20s here. He's played well recently, the last couple of weeks. Again, his ball striking and hitting greens and his elite putting is going to play anywhere, and especially play here at this course. So expect him to make a ton of birdies. And again, I think he finally gets over that hump and gets a win that he's been looking for a couple of years.
Yeah, so for this week, we got the Travelers, another signature event, and this year the signature events have not really had the big names on the top. We had JT Poston, Jacob Bridgman to name a couple. So this week I'm gonna go with a guy who hasn't really made a lot of noise this season. He's usually pretty solid, and I was thinking week after a major, it's gonna be no offense, some just random, just someone's gonna play well in a
Yeah.
random lane, and win. So I'm going with Harris English this week. He won the Century a few years ago, where of course we were birdie fest right out there in Hawaii. So he can go low. We're gonna need some luck because a lot of very talented top players in the field this week. Not that Harris English isn't a top and talented player,
He won
but
here. I went to it when he won in 2023 or 2022. He beat Kramer Hickok in the 6-hole playoff there when I went. So he's won here and he knows how to go low. And like you said, he wins the Century, wins here, he can go low. So I think that's a pretty good pick. And again, he's one of those that rolls the rock really well, and it just his ball striking is key here, and he's going to do that well. On the LPGA Tour, we have another major, the 2026 KPMG Women's PGA Championship at Hazeltine National Golf Club. I am so excited to see this golf course and see the women play this golf course. The last time I saw it played was probably the Ryder Cup. I think it was the 2018 was there, I think. You got the famous Patrick Reed, Rory McIlroy V1 match, them going back and forth, yelling at each other. Great stuff. I think it's going to be a great course. Again, the other podcast I do, I talked to the lead assistant pro, and he said the build-up's been good. The tournament and the field or the course is in great shape. They've been not playing it for about 2 weeks now. And he has a feeling that Hannah Green was his winner. I'm not going to go with Hannah Green as mine, though she is playing really well, and she's probably right behind Gino and Nelly as the best players. It's tough not to pick Nelly in this tournament. Do you have a pick for this week?
yeah, I'm gonna be really boring. I'm gonna pick Nelly Korda. Really boring. I picked her last tournament, last major, and she won. She's the best player in the world. I don't see any reason to not pick her. I know it's boring. Sorry to everyone listening, but yeah, boring pick. But she's just the best player. Simple as that.
I'm gonna go with someone who I think is bound to win a major at some point, and she's played really well. She finished second to Nelly down at the U.S. Open over at Riviera, and give me Charlie Hall. She's from England. Hazeltine is kind of a linksy style golf course. It's right on the lakes of Minnesota. I think it's Lake Hazeltine. If it's windy and blustery, it's someone who from England's gonna have a little bit of advantage playing in that growing up. So I'm gonna go with Charlie Hall. I Nelly, yeah, I thought about Nelly. Gino has kind of been disappointing in the major, so I'm gonna go off the board a little, maybe not so much off the board. Give me Charlie Hall to win her first major over in Minnesota this week. It's gonna be an exciting week of golf. Can't wait to watch the signature event in the major. Before we get going, we have to talk about the PGA Tour. They kind of released their structure of their season for 2028. Brian Rolap, we're recording this on Tuesday, spoke this morning at the Travelers and kind of showed the structure of what it's going to look like. Real quick, we'll go over it and get your thoughts on it. So it's going to be a true track system, like we said. The PGA Championship Series is the top track, the A track, whatever you want to call it. It's going to have 23 to 24 events that will include the majors, the players, and the international team events. So whether it's the Ryder Cup or President's Cup year. So right there's 6 events. Yeah. And then you have other events that will fill in the rest of the kind of schedule there. It's going to be 120 players in the field. So there's no more signature events. There's no more 60-person fields, 70-person fields, which I love.
Yes.
They're all going to have cuts. So there's no more no-cut events. The other thing I love that I don't think it's been talked about enough from what I've read, there's going to be no sponsor exemptions or alternates. I love the no sponsors exemption. Again, I love Ricky Fowler, but 2 years ago, he kind of only kept his card because of sponsor exemptions into these signature events, and that's how he got elevated. So they're looking to fill out the remaining part of the schedule with markets like Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Seattle, San Francisco. So bigger markets that will host events. The purses are going to be at least 20 million. So you're going to see big purses in that. The other big part of this is the Tour Championship will have a new look. It will be played at, oh gosh, where's it played at right now?
East Lake.
East Lake. Thank you. Wow. For this year or next year, but then 2028, it's going to be hosted between a rotation of golf courses. And they mentioned Pine Valley, Cypress, Seminole, some of these top 50 golf courses in the world. that the players don't usually play and the PGA Tour doesn't go to, and that will kind of be the finale, and it'll also be match play will be integrated into the format somehow. They didn't say how, but we're going to get a match play, and I know that's one of your favorite things that is coming out of this. And then kind of the B track real quick is the PGA Tour Challenger Series. This is the second track. This is kind of getting you to the championship track. It's a pathway to there. If you win twice on it, you get automatic. You can get moved up automatically to the championship series. It's going to be 144 player fields. The purse is going to be at least 4 million. So it's a significant decrease in pay and purse. 72 hole stroke play events, no cut line, and it's going to be at least 20 events. I think 7 of those are going to not overlap with events from the championship series. So you'll have players who can play their way up into the championship series from the Challenger Series. And I don't know if a championship series player can come down and play in one of those Challenger Series. That's going to be an interesting thing that they're still working on details. You can be relegated from the championship series. You can get relegated down to the Challenger Series. So there's a lot to unpack. I would suggest PGA Tour has some good things. I read an article on the fried egg that's really good, breaks it down really nice and easy. Again, this doesn't happen until 2028, but at least we have a kind of an idea of what it's going to look like then.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of pretty much most, if not all, of these changes. The first one, obviously, is the match play format. I've been a huge advocate for match play for the last 2 years. I know the old system with the staggered scoring was the worst design, and now it's slightly better with the everyone starts at even, so everyone has a fair chance. But definitely a lot better now. But with the match play, it's gonna be cinema. I'm so excited to watch that. And then your other point, the signature events, no more signature events. Tired of those. It seems, every other week is a signature event. Well, no cut, or 10 guys get cut, and it's just not really as exciting. Guys battling to make the cut is also part of the game too. And it's a whole different part. People get more excited to make the cut than whatever they finish, because they make money that week, and guys are playing for their lives. How many times do you see Torrey Pines and Riviera, Pebble Beach, those California courses? How often are we going to see those? So it's nice to see some newer courses being played, and I'm sure those guys, the pros, are like, heck yeah, sign us up, new courses. And who knows? But if we get more guys coming over from Live eventually, if whatever that deal is, we get some of the best guys. Who knows what's going to happen with that? That'd be nice. And the last thing that's coming back to me is the promotion and the relegation system. I'm a big fan of soccer, European soccer, with all the promotion relegation. You play well, you get rewarded. If you play poorly, then someone else who's playing well will come up to replace you. And I love that. It's competitive, and it gets guys battling week in, week out. So I love that. So that's one of the more exciting things that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and reading, there's also a fall. The fall is going to be a very international type schedule, so it's going to be a qualifying series, and they're going to play some in the US but also some international events. And the PGA Tour, there's still going to be Q School, and the PGA Tour U is still going to happen, and the Corn Ferry and PGA Tour Americas, all of that is still going to continue. It's not getting taken away. So I know people are like, oh, this Challenger Series is kind of the Corn Ferry Tour. No, the Corn Ferry Tour is much less money than even this Challenger Series is. So again, none of that other developmental pathways are getting touched yet. And I'm sure as they figure this out, again, there's so many more details that they probably still need to figure out before 2028. Like, where are they playing? What current PGA Tour tournaments are still going to happen? I know that, right, we talk about the Byron Nelson and other ones like that. Those, I think, are still going to stay. I think they're just going to be part of the Challenger Series. I think some of the bigger ones will stay in the Championship Series. I think you'll see the signature events stay in the Championship Series, and my guess, like the Arnold Palmer, like the Travelers, Riviera, all that. Again, this is me assuming. I know nothing, but I think that's what it's kind of look like. And I think you're going to see new venues like in bigger markets like Chicago and and Boston, and places that they haven't really gone to in a while play, because there are good golf courses there. So I think that's really cool. Again, this is all step in the right direction. Until we see it fully played out, I guess we'll have more knowledge then in 2 years in 2028, and as more details come out. But again, I think they did a nice job of explaining it to us as fans and consumers of how it works and everything. So again, so far so good. The other part of this meeting that was announced was that Brian Rolapp will take over as this CEO of the PGA Tour as well. So he's stepping in, or the commissioner. He's the CEO right now, but he's also going to step in for Jay Monahan at the end of this year as a PGA Tour commissioner. Not a shock. I think that was kind of the whole point of when he signed last year to be the CEO, was he was the replacement for Monahan whenever Monahan decided to step down, and that time is now. He's been good so far. He's much better in front of the media than Monahan ever was. He's coming from the NFL, so he knows how to build a product that's going to get eyes and attention and money. So that's good. Again, be ready for the major this week. Women's PGA Championship up at Hazeltine. Keep an eye out on our website, Fair to Green, our Instagram, Fair to Green. And we'll be back next week to recap all the events this week and preview the following ones. Enjoy the golf.